What's going on, my beautiful people, and welcome to another episode of the Hustle Coast podcast. Today, we have an absolutely amazing guest on the show. He is the owner of Crack House Studios in Lansing, Michigan. With over 21 years in the music industry, he has amassed over 90,000 subs on YouTube and millions of views across social platforms. He is a content and video creator, creative entrepreneur, educator, and artist mentor. I give you Cracka Lack.
Hey, that was awesome. That was awesome.
Yeah, of course, man. I appreciate you coming on the show, my brother.
Thank you for reaching out.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No, man, I was definitely excited. I've been seeing your content for a long time, and just how educational it is, and how far you really go to try and help artists and to educate people. And yeah, man, I was very excited.
Yeah, I'm hoping that by the end of this episode, we drop some gems. There's some free game for people that are tuned in, and they're like, "Man, I'm glad that I stuck around and watched the whole episode."
Oh, 100%, man, 100%. I was going through some of your old stuff. It might not be that old, but obviously it was older probably for you. But I found a couple quotes, man. Before we even get into it, I just kind of wanted to jump off a couple of your quotes. I was like, oh, these are great to start. So the first one is a job, J-O-B, stands for just over broke.
Oh shit.
I was like, yo, bro, that is so real, man. And obviously I know we're going to get into your full story and, your entrepreneurial story, which is amazing. I always kind of like to start from the beginning, though. So where were you born? What was your childhood like growing up and all that?
Yeah, so I'm born and raised in Lansing, Michigan. One of three. So I have a older sister, younger brother. And yeah, I'm still in Lansing. I travel a lot. I like going to big cities and stuff, but with raising a family, say like New York City as example, I'm like, it's cool to go here and just grind and like work nonstop for a weekend or 2, 3, 4 days or whatever. But then I like going back home where it's calm. And then this is where I'm like editing stuff or building. And then I like, pop out maybe every few weeks to a month, go somewhere, do some cool stuff, grind nonstop, then come back home. So, yeah.
I can imagine that's pretty nice. And Lansing, Michigan, that's a pretty small town, right?
Yeah, I think the population is like 120,000 people. So not like small, but like Detroit is millions, and Detroit's like an hour and a half. And usually when I tell people I'm from Lansing, Michigan, they'll be like, Detroit? And then it's just like, nope, it's like an hour and a half. I'm in Lansing. They're like, okay, the white dude, he's from Detroit. It's like, all right, cool, Detroit.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's how it is too, man. I'm in Orlando now, but I'm originally from the Tampa Bay area, and people didn't really know Tampa like that. Like 10 years ago, they would always be like, "Oh, you're in Miami," like, or if I went like out of the state or whatever, they're like, "Oh yeah, you're Miami." I was like,
I love
all right.
Orlando.
Yo,
Orlando's me and my
Orlando.
family. It's our favorite vacation place.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice, man. Heck yeah, bro. Well, next time you come, you come to Orlando, bro, we might have to do a little link up or something.
absolutely. That's why I love doing, podcasts. It's like one of my life mottos is double dipping. So like business pleasure is everything. So I love to go to Orlando and go to the parks with my family, but then it's like I still need to fill my productivity cup. So I'll be bringing the camera and doing content, but then I meet people like yourself, and then we can meet up in person and say do a podcast or do content together, talk.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my life motto is double dipping.
For sure, man. Killing two birds with one stone, bro.
Yeah.
I like that. I like
Yeah.
that for sure. Okay, so you grew up one of three kids. You were the middle child. How was growing up in Lansing, Michigan?
It was cool. I believe like to an extent, life is what you make it. So I've been big on saying don't become a product of your environment, make your environment a product of you.
Mm.
And so when people hear Lansing, Michigan, you're probably not going to think about like, oh, that's where all the stars come out of. It's like, no, you probably don't know anyone that came out of Lansing, Michigan. Um, but again, I make your environment a product of you. And so that's, I guess, fast forward to where I am now with Crack House Studios is like building the thing to draw people to come to Lansing. And I mean, it's already working. I would say over the last 10 years, I mean, there's been people that have traveled from Missouri, Florida, Atlanta, New York, California, specifically to come like work with me at the studio. And
Yeah.
whether it's videos or beats or, and all I had up until maybe 2 years ago was just a recording studio. So I used to feel like when people would say, man, I want to come up to the crack house, I'd be like, it's a recording studio. But I had this vision of, I wish I could, the kill as many birds with one stone. It's like, I wish we could kill like six birds with one stone. And like, yes, you could come up and we have the studio, but then there's also like a podcast studio where we could sit down and do a podcast. There's a content studio where we could shoot videos. There's a photography studio where you can get pictures taken and like have it all under one roof. And that's what I've been wanting. And then now where I'm at is that's what we're building here. So and still to this day, like 90% of the clientele at Crack House Studios travels from at least 1 hour away to come here. So
Right.
I guess I am a walking, talking billboard for build it and they will come.
Yeah, for sure, man. I always heard the analogy be a thermostat instead of a what they use a thermometer.
Yeah,
Set that tone, and you're definitely doing that. Lansing, Michigan has got to be it's got to be happy to have you, man. You're one of the
yeah,
tourist attractions.
yeah. That's awesome to think about it like that too.
Yeah, for sure. And we're gonna talk all about your studio because and everything that you've done. I went through and saw a lot of the pictures of your studio, and honestly, man, it's a beautiful studio. I think to myself, like, damn, I would love to record here. If this guy was in Florida, I would be over there recording.
Yeah, yeah,
For sure. And also kind of how you have like you said, it's not just a recording studio, which a lot of them are, but you have your podcast room, you have your content room and all of that. Like that means a lot for artists to be able to come in and get all that done in one place. So that's awesome.
exactly. It's plus it aligns with efficiency, like if I think I was exposed to it the first time I went to Atlanta.
Hmm.
And when I was in Atlanta, there was like a warehouse place that it just looked like an industrial warehouse junkyard type of building, but then it had a nice security fence. And then when I was inside, it was like, oh shit, there's a recording studio, and then there's like an area with like a infinity white wall. But I seen an artist like he was in the studio for maybe 2 3 hours or something, and they were making music. And then it was right after they're using the studio and then also using like the parking lot, but they were shooting a video for it. And I was like,
Right.
that's the move right there. You make
Yeah.
the song, you take the pictures, you shoot, do it all in one go.
Yeah. 100%, man. A genius. Genius. And I feel like a lot of studios still haven't really caught on to that. So I think you're definitely leading the charge with that 100%.
Thank you, man. And I
Yeah.
really think over these next 3 years, there's gonna be like a lot of imitation with what I'm building right now.
Yeah.
Because even when you just look at studio websites, like uh, I just said this on a podcast, it was like when you're a trailblazer, you're going on a path that hasn't like you're creating the path for other people to follow. So
Right.
when I was looking for, how should I design my studio website? What should I offer? What should I charge? And so I was just going to Google, putting, LA recording studio. And I'm going down, I'm clicking on all their websites. And every single, I would say the recording studio industry has by far the worst websites out of any
Yeah.
websites I've ever seen in my life,
Right.
because there's no way to even like give them money. Like
Right.
every website, it was just set up to just have pictures of the studio and then a contact form.
Literally.
I was like, I can't even buy, so I come from online marketing, online business, e-commerce, having a Shopify store. And so I'm like taking the e-commerce, but with a service-based business to where you can go right on the website and build your cart, book
Yeah.
this many hours of studio time, add photos to it, add a video, and like, hey,
Automation.
yeah, right there
Yeah.
on the website.
Yeah. Yeah, and honestly, man, it's funny you say that because I went on a rant a little while ago. Because when I first moved to Orlando, which I've always been close to Orlando. Tampa guy is like 2 hours, 2.5. But when I first moved to Orlando, the studios here, same thing, bro. Most of the studios, they want you to send them an email talking about the type of music that I do and how long is the session. I don't have time for all that. I need to
Yeah,
get on there. I need to see when you're open, when I can book a session, this and that, and how much it is. So yeah, 100%. I agree with that. But
hell
okay,
yeah.
Yeah, no, 100%, man. So we're definitely going to get into again. I want to get your full story on this
Okay.
podcast today. So
All right.
so what kind of kid were you? Were you a good kid in school, growing up and all of that?
Well, I would say early entrepreneurship would be, I remember being in fifth grade and my mom's had a Sam's Club membership. And fifth grade was when you started maybe want to like kiss your girlfriend at school.
Right?
Fifth, sixth, seventh grade, and, people would want fresh breath, right? And so gum was a thing. And I remember being like, damn, I wish I had some gum. And going with my mom to the grocery store and buying like the packs of gum that say 25 cents, but
Yeah.
they would have a 25-cent sticker, but I would sell them for $1. So I'd make
Mm,
75 cents. And I remember I
nice.
did that really hard for maybe like 3 months to where the principal had to do a meeting with my parents to say that like that this isn't allowed. You can't be doing this.
He's making too much money.
Yeah, so that was like middle school. Um, I was into sports a lot up until about my junior year because it's like when you're in fifth grade, you play against fifth graders. When you're in eighth grade, eighth. But then once you get to junior year, it's juniors and seniors. And I noticed my sophomore year, like JV football, I didn't play a lot, and I was playing with my own age. So then it's like, okay, if I didn't get a lot of playing time playing with my own grade, and now next year I'm playing with my grade and the grade above, probably not going to play at all. And I started looking more into the future of like, well, if I'm not going to play a lot, clearly now I can delete that dreams of going to the NFL or the NBA
Yeah.
because you're not even getting playing time at this level. And then that was the same age that I discovered music and like started messing with beats or rapping and recording. And it was like, man, this is what I would really like to do as a future.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, do you want to do? There wasn't a whole lot in between, like middle school, junior high. It was really just like sports, girls, that type of stuff. And
Yeah.
then yeah, the music, that's where I started at 15, and it's been, I would say I haven't went weeks without not doing it for the 21 years. So when I say 21 years, I'm stemming back to 15 because at
Right.
15 I discovered it, and then I like never put it down for 21 years
That's
because I
commitment.
well, you meet the people that, you might meet a 40-year-old and they sing and
Mhm.
you're like, oh, how long have you been singing? They put, oh, I've been singing my whole life. It's like, okay, what do you have to show for that? And if they're like, what do you mean? It's like, well, you've been singing your entire life. How many albums, how many videos, how many shows have you? And they're like, oh, I've made a song like maybe 17 years ago. It's like, oh, okay. So there's a difference between
Yeah.
you've been doing it your whole life and I've been doing it for 21 years. And so I always say nonstop when they're like, how long have you been doing it? 21 years nonstop.
Right. No, that makes sense. And that's kind of what I was getting at, kind of where I wanted the story to go is based on the research that I was doing. You started out as an artist and a
Yeah.
rapper, which I think is a testament to a lot of the other artists and rappers out there that that's not the only thing that this can lead to, basically, that you can build kind of like how you have, and you're a prime example of it, of somebody who's built so much off of starting with that.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
think that's going to be a big part of my story. Where I'm at now, and now I'm transitioning to more of being like the coach. So it's
Hmm.
kind of like the player that had a career, and then now they realize or they've evolved into the next chapter. And the next chapter is like, okay, let me teach the next person how to do what I did in a fraction of the time with all the lessons that I learned.
Yeah.
And I'm studying like how to package my story.
Yeah.
And a lot of it that I keep going back to is like from rapper to CEO.
Yeah.
And, you know, but
100%, man. That I feel like that's it right there. Like I can see it. And it's an inspiration to me because I have a somewhat similar story to you where I started as a rapper, just writing music, rapping and watching 8 Mile, stuff
yeah,
like that, man. You know what I mean? So it's
movie
that.
changed my fucking life.
Bro, me too, dog. All right, so you have also done very well online. Uh, well, actually, let me not jump the story. So you, on top of the music, you got into videography.
Hmm.
Did that come first, or did the social media content strategy online come first?
I would say it was like a natural progression of me and my friends decided to rap at 15, and then back then 21 years ago you couldn't just go to YouTube and look up, Kevin Gates type beat. You had to either know somebody that made the beat, make the beat yourself, or you could rap on like famous artists instrumentals.
Mhm.
And I was the friend out of the group that wanted to make the beats. And so I like started learning how to make beats and made horrible beats for a long time. And then eventually they got a little bit better, a little bit better. I started making decent beats and then some good beats and then better beats. But yeah, it was like we wanted to rap, we needed beats. I was going to make the beats. So I learned producing. And then it was like, okay, now how do we record this shit? Not just on sound recorder with a computer mic. Like, how do we actually record it in some software where we can click record, click stop, do some effects to it? So then I learned how to do audio engineering. And so now we were like making songs. Now we made enough songs to where we had a CD, and it was like, oh shit, how do we have a CD cover with a picture of us and CrackaLack and the name of the CD, parental advice? How do we do that? So then I got my mom's camera and I learned photography and graphic design with Photoshop to design the cover. And so then the next step was we wanted to sell the CDs to people. So then I started getting into like CD duplication. And in the beginning, it was just burning a CD and putting a sticker on it and then putting it in a case and getting covers printed and then selling those for $5, $10. But then it led to me actually starting a whole like CD duplication company. And yeah, but so now we had the CD, and then the next thing was YouTube started to become a thing, and so I wanted to do videos on YouTube. So again, my mom had like our home video cassette camera thing, and I learned some videography. So it's like
Mhm.
now I was doing some video stuff, and then now I had to learn how to edit the videos. And so now I'd film the video, edit the video. Now I'm putting stuff on YouTube, and then it was like, oh shit, what if we did music videos? And so then I was the friend again that's like, okay, well, I'm learning how to do like a simple studio vlogs or beat making videos or whatever. And then my brother, I was doing like his sport highlight tapes and stuff that taught me some basic video editing. So then I was like, here, let me try my first music video. So then I did a music video, and then my CD business started growing more and more to where I needed to learn how to make a website. So then I made a website, and then no one was buying my shit. So I had to learn how to get people to go to the website to spend their money. So I learned how to do Google ads and Facebook ads. And so now I'm doing marketing stuff. And then to get my music heard by more people, to get my beats heard by more people, I needed to learn how to. I was just thinking at the time, I remember having like 400 followers on or Twitter was the thing. And my thoughts were just, okay, if I have 400 people following me and I say, check out my beat, and maybe only like 10 check out the beat, if I had 4,000 followers, maybe I have 100 people to go check out the beat. If I had 40,000 followers, maybe I have 1,000 people to go check out the beat. Okay, how do I do this? And so I remembered I've done a lot of the wrong things to learn the right things. So like I was doing follow unfollow shit for a long time
Right.
and got maybe 10,000 followers. I was following 10,000 people and then slowly started unfollowing them. And that might have been how I got my first 10,000 followers on Twitter. Then it was like, okay, making better content, learning how the algorithms work. I started binging like YouTube videos on how to grow your YouTube channel, how to grow your Facebook page, how to get more views on your videos. And I guess that's been a lot of the skill stacking. And then even eventually it was like managing a music artist, but that stemmed from, I guess, people seeing that I learned all these different things and I had things going on. So I never even announced or promoted, I'm looking to become a music manager. If you're a music artist, reach out to me. It was like it just happened from a music artist asking me to do that. But
Yeah.
we can slow down and go back to wherever.
No. So you're basically self-taught with all of your skills.
Yeah.
What do you think, like, do you think it was something instilled in you as like a kid, but like what do you think gave you that the entrepreneurial spirit, but also like the willingness and the mindset to be like, all right, I'm gonna be the one to go learn all these things.
I don't know. my wife asked me this a lot. She was like, I'm not like, because now she's a heavy part of what we're building right now, like playing a role in it. But we've been together for almost 10 years, and it wasn't until the recent few years where she's gotten more involved. In the beginning, it was just, I'm not like you. I don't just think of that stuff. I'm not an entrepreneur, because I would just break down things about like, okay, it seems like the next step that we need to be doing is email marketing. I don't know anything about email marketing, so I'm going to look up on YouTube email marketing for beginners or email marketing tutorial, and I'm going to watch the first 10 to 20 videos that show up on YouTube. And then of those that I watch, I'm going to pick the best things that I learned from each person, and then I'm going to go practice it. And then as I run into the next thing, I'm going to go back to the person that I learned the most from and see if they have a video on it, or if they have a course I can buy, or if they offer like where I can pay them to speak to them, or if they have a book out.
Yeah.
And I was saying to her, like, you don't get it? Like, what? And she was like, what? I don't think you understand that most people would never just naturally think of that and run down the whole line. And the joke that I have with some of the guys at the studio is we would run into a problem of like, we started offering a live music review. And I'm like, the smartest thing to do is find somebody that's already doing it at a high level. And then we just reverse engineer, what do they do? How do they do it? So we'd run into a problem, and I'm like, give me 24 hours. I'll come back with a master's degree on it, and we'll figure it out.
Right.
But yeah, she'll ask like, or tell me, that's not normal for people to do. And
Right.
when I try to think back, I remember I bring this up a lot, but like getting cut from the basketball team. So like in middle school, being told at a young age that like you're not good enough. And some people could be told they're not good enough, and then they just live a whatever life. But then with me, it like, I don't know, it did something to me of like, ooh, it was up to you. It was your decision. And it was a big deal for me because I'm good friends with all of the kids that were on the teams. So it's like the sleepovers are at each other's houses. The summer like basketball camps are playing 5-on-5 was always at one of the friends' house. And I was I guess in my head, I felt like I was in the top with all of them. Like, who was making the most shots? I was in that talk. But then like to get cut from the team and told you're not good enough, and then being like, damn, there's nothing I can do about it. It's the coach's decision. So I think that did something to me about like always wanting to be the boss. It's like it's up to me. And that would be one thing. And then also like maybe the gym, like working out, taught me a lot of shit and built a lot of confidence in myself of just like, I remember at the beginning of 6th grade being chubby, playing like lineman. And then the next year I was a cornerback. So like went from lineman to cornerback, and the
That's a big
cornerback's like
jump.
the fast rip person.
Yeah.
But I did it in a year because I found out at the end of the school year, you're going to go swimming with the class. And I'm like, oh shit, all these girls are going to see me in my cellulite, my chubby titties and stomach and shit. And my mom had these 10-minute ab VHS cassettes, like day 1, day 2, day 3.
Yeah.
And I started doing that shit every single day in my room at like 12 years old. And I had a 6-pack by the end of the school year. And maybe it was doing that, being like, oh shit, I did that.
Right.
Okay, I can do things when I put my mind to them.
Right.
Because I've seen the opposite of people that don't have the self-confidence. And it usually comes from they've never set their mind to a hard thing and then did it to prove to themselves that it's possible.
Yeah. Yeah, no, 100%. I've found that, especially as a kid, I feel like because you're so impressionable as a kid, if you've had adversity as a kid and you overcame that, I really do believe it does something to your mental. Because even for me too, and I'm a pretty big guy still, but I was a very fat kid. And, in football, we had to play, it's based on your weight. So, I'm 9 and 10 years old playing with the 14 and 15-year-olds, getting laid on my butt every day. You know what I mean? Taking those beatings. But I had the choice at that time. I could either quit or not quit. And I didn't quit. I took my beating like a man, and then I came back. And when I was 14 or 15, I was laying the lumber. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
So I definitely can understand that, and you're right. That does kind of light a fire in you from when you're young that probably sticks with you
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
for
it's
sure.
interesting because now I'm a father. My daughter's that age where I would say like I guess started my become a beast journey.
Yeah,
And so it's like as a father, you want your kids to have, I don't know, to not go through that type of stuff. But then at the
right,
same time, I'm like, if she doesn't go through this stuff, then she's gonna be, I guess, kind of like a spoon fed, you
right,
know, I want her to be a beast. So I'm aware that she's gonna feel some shit that's gonna make her cry or like break her heart or hurt her feelings a lot, but it's what will help her in the long run.
right. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
for sure. That's got to be tough. That's got to be
Yeah.
tough to try to find that balance, man. So I hear you on that. So let me ask this: what's the biggest challenge you faced on your come up?
Um, that's a good question. Not that I haven't faced, I mean, I would say each challenge would be, it's kind of like a video game where level one is the easiest level and it requires the least amount of skills. So kind of, I don't know, I was only so good at so many things and I belonged on level one. And then I got to the end and ran into a challenge and I had to get better and I got better and I beat that level. So then I was
Right,
like on level two and then ran into the next thing. And then, I mean, every challenge seemed like the biggest thing in the world at the time, but like looking back on it now, it seems like it was nothing. But I remember going from rapper to retiring as a rapper. It was, I'm 23 years old, found out I was going to be a dad, poor, and I had 16 albums out, and everything was riding on me being like a famous rapper. And
right,
so when it was, you know, it seemed like the biggest decision of my life to decide to because I felt like I was throwing everything away. It's like,
right,
man, everyone knows me as CrackaLack though. I'm the rapper. I have all these CDs out. Like if I stop rapping, then it's like those 16 albums are just thrown away.
right.
But what I realized is like the rapper part of me taught me how to move
Mm-hmm.
because I think everyone should move like a rapper with the mindset of like how does a rapper move? The rapper gives off a certain persona,
Mm-hmm.
a image that they care about. Not that they care about, like they're intentional with their strategy and how they put themselves out there. And I felt like at the time, well, if I just transition to doing behind the scenes stuff, like no one even knows at this time,
Right.
no one even knows what an audio engineer looks like. Like it's just I assumed it was this long haired, big bearded, 300-pound person that,
Right.
um, yeah. And it was just like, no, I like, there was a balance between being an attention whore and then also like being in the spotlight. And I
Right.
liked getting a haircut, getting an outfit, and like shooting a music video or going to do a show or like having a flyer that I'm promoting and it's got me on the flyer or like filming videos or talking to like I liked that side of the things. It was
Yeah.
just I felt that my music from the first CD to the second CD sounded like a different person.
Mm-hmm.
And then from the second CD to the third CD sounded like a different person. And it
Right.
kept happening 16 times to where it's like, bro, I have 16 CDs. I don't like any of them. Clearly, I haven't found my voice, but with my skills on like mixing or beats,
Mm-hmm.
I knew that that shit was good. And I knew that like if I was in the studio with Lil Wayne and I was playing one of my rap songs, I'd be kind of insecure and kind of just thinking, is he nodding his head? Does he like it? But if it was a beat I made, I knew I could just leave the room and it's like I know for a fact that that's good.
Yeah.
And so when I decided to make that transition, I was thinking, do I get a full-time job? I'm gonna have a daughter. I need money, more stable income and stuff. Or do I step away from rapping and focus on the behind the scenes stuff and see what I can do with this? And so I remember trying to do both a little bit. Like I'd apply for some jobs when shit would slow down, my phone would slow down on ringing, and I'd be like, uh-oh, I need to get a job. I would apply to a few places knowing I do not want to get a job. I do not want to get a job. If I do this, it's just temporary. I'm gonna make a little bit of money for a few months and then quit this job and then whatever, get back to it.
Right.
but then my phone would pick up and start ringing some more. And I went from selling like a beat a week to selling a beat every day. And I went from shooting like a video for somebody else, once every couple of months to shooting a couple of them every weekend. And then I went from doing, instead of like recording my own music 10, 15 hours a week, I started offering studio time 10, 20, 30 hours a week to other people. And so I started making money, and then I was getting better at the things like the beats, the engineering, the videos and stuff. And I never really looked back since. I found that like I was able to fill my creative cup. I used to fill my cup as making music, and now I'm filling my cup like making money and growing a business and learning these skills. Like it was stimulating for me. For my ADHD, it kept me like, oh, this is stimulating. I'm engineering. People are calling about sessions. People are calling about videos. I'm filming today. I'm producing tomorrow. I'm doing audio engineering the next day. And I learned too that all of those skills intertwine together to where, like, if somebody makes beats, they're more likely to be a better engineer because they're already familiar with the sound and beats and rhythm, and like there's similar skills. And then I learned the same thing once I edited videos. It's like, oh, this is similar to recording. I see the tracks, I see the video tracks, I see like how it works, the timeline. So yeah, I think all of those skills help one another.
Yeah, no, 100%. And you give a lot of advice to artists who are coming up in the game. Do you think that is that your message to them, to make sure to learn other skills that can generate you income other than just putting all of your eggs in one basket?
I would say, and I'll be doing this a lot more like from here on out more, but it'll be doubling down on the personal brand side of things. Because if I were to give credit to anything in my career, it would be content. Because uh people that book me for shit today, they'll tell me like, I found you 7 years ago, I've been watching your content for that long, or I found you 3 years ago. And uh the reason why I've been able to continue growing is I've always done content. And I did content from, I think, being the rapper, like knowing that I had to put videos out. And it was like, shit, well, if I stop rapping tomorrow, what the hell am I going to put on my YouTube channel? And I thought, okay, well, instead of me in the studio with some friends and we're rapping or recording, it would be me in the studio. Let me start putting the spotlight on my process of making beats, or let me vlog my life. I'm having a daughter, and then I'm doing a session, and then I'm shooting a video, and then we're doing a photo shoot. Let me put all that in like a piece of content. And so I've been doing that for long enough to where now, yeah, like there's more opportunities that can continue to come. So I think a lot of music artists, like, they just think of the music, but it's, if you think of the biggest brands, they've been able to, I guess, cross pollinate multiple industry. Like 50 Cent, yes, he got in the door as a rapper, but then it was, he started G Unit Records, and then the G Unit video game, and then the G Unit clothing line, and then the vitamin water, and then promotions and boxing and TV. Like all these things stemmed off of that, but his personal brand is 50 Cent.
Right, for sure. No, 100%. That definitely makes sense. Speaking of video content, are there any trends in video content that you're excited about or that you're on right now?
I would say the fact that editing is, so there was a, what is called like retention editing would be what you're used to seeing with Mr. Beast, where it's like, what's up guys, in this video this is happening, and the camera changes, it's like $10,000 overlay and smoke sound effect, joof 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 joof. And when you try to compete with that shit, man, it takes the editing process way longer. And so it was hard for me because like that was really, really popular 3 years ago, 2 years ago, and a year ago. And I slowed down on my uploading because it's, now you can't just ask anyone with basic video editing skills to like help take some things off your plate and edit some content, because they'd have to be really, really, really good at editing to be able to edit shit like that. And so it's like, damn, I can't outsource my YouTube videos. Like I have to edit everything. And then it pulls me off the field because now I'm not like earning or chasing money. I'm like editing fucking videos all day here.
Yeah.
So what happens is usually everything goes in cycles. So the cycle right now is with TikTok and short form, and then the attention shit and the retention editing. Uh, what's becoming more popular right now and like the end of last year is like the slower, more simple editing.
Okay.
So it's like slow down woosah, and it might just be a video of a person sitting down, one camera angle, talking to the camera, very raw.
Mhm.
And also this would counter the future of AI. So like AI can, if you want to learn, say, how to market your music, you could technically go to ChatGPT and ask it, and it'll give you a bunch of information.
Right.
But people are drawn to people. So the more human you are, the more authentic you are, the more individual stories that like you have, that's not just like random facts on the internet, that makes you more valuable. And so it excites me to know that that shit is in right now, more authentic human to human stuff.
Right.
And then also that you can lower the bar for editing. So it can be just more simple, easier to do content that everyone can just make on their phone.
Yeah.
And I'm even going to incorporate that because, you know, shout out to my wife, but she was telling me the other day, you don't, all of your videos don't have to be filmed with the big camera with the lights on and in the studio wearing mics and all this shit. Like, you should do more videos where it's just your phone and you're like going for a walk and you talk to the camera. And I was like, I absolutely should. That would be easy for me. I was just overthinking it. So a lot of the overthinking came from trying to keep up with the best of the best in the world when they were doing that editing stuff. So I'd have all these ideas, but then I'd think like, oh, I'd need 2 or 3 people to help me pull that shit off.
Right.
Or I can't just pull out my phone real quick and do it right now. Because like technically after this podcast, you might be getting in the car and you're going to get something to eat or you're going for a drive to somewhere, and you may reflect about something we talked about. And in the past, I'd be like, all right, let me write this down somewhere so I can film this professionally one of the next times I film.
Right.
But I think more real-time content is what's in right now, to where you have the green light to say, no, pull out your fucking phone, selfie it, and just be like, sup, guys? So, you know, I was thinking, and then it's just
Right.
whatever the thought
Right.
is that you had. I was just thinking about this, you know, I was doing a podcast with Crack and he was talking about blah, blah, blah. And it got me thinking about this. And, you know, and you'll say some shit, but it's right
Yeah.
there in the moment because you feel it versus like trying to postpone it to do it professionally. And yeah, so I'm going to be doing way more of that. I want to see more people doing more of that as well, too. Like the
Yeah.
human content.
Yeah, no, I think that's great advice. So I'm definitely going to take that gem right there. And any other artists watching, you know, don't not put out videos because you're worried about the quality and you don't need the big production for each video. Put your stuff out.
Yeah, I would say like prioritize the message over the packaging.
Right.
Where in the past I would be so focused on the packaging, and sometimes it still happens where we may have a content day and I'll have some outfits picked out and a videographer show up and it's like we have all of the packaging down, but my message is like, I don't know, today I don't have a whole lot on my mind right now. It's like,
Right.
but yesterday I had this happened and I felt wound up, but I didn't turn the camera on.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense, man. So moving over, and I know we did already kind of touch on it, but Crack House Studios in Lansing, Michigan. How did you choose your location?
Just this is my home.
Okay.
So my friend the other day, he was kind of dwelling on the what if. He was like, man, just imagine if your studio was in a big city. Just imagine if this, just imagine if this. And I was saying, I always thought of that, but it'd be too easy. Like, I like the route of take the long way home. So I said, what I realize is the success isn't about, oh, open up a studio in Lansing and it does this much money or whatever, versus opening it in New York City or Miami or whatever, and it would do this. It's like who I become along the journey. So if it's going to take me, you know, another 5 years to reach a certain goal that I want to hit, I'm loving who I'm becoming along the way. And if I were to do this shit in a big city, it might have happened like that, but then I didn't get all the benefits of who I become from the journey, you know? So
Yeah.
that's why I'm big on taking like the long way, or, you know, and also because, you know, now my daughter, she's about to be 13 and she's got 5 years left of school. So now what our plan is, you know what? I want to keep the studio here until she's 18. Once she's 18, because she still goes to her mom a few days every week. And if we were to move to a different city, then there's, you know, she's going to probably hate because she has to spend the summer with her mom and away from friends, and it's going to mess with her popularity and stuff. So like, let's just stay here. I can build something really big over the next 5 years. She can graduate. I'll have systems, people in place to where then I have way more freedom to, maybe I want to move to Florida, which I actually do, you know? Maybe
Yeah.
we want to travel and be able to go to other countries or go to different cities and, you know, have way more freedom. Freedom for me is my goal.
Yeah. Yeah. No, 100%. And so when you started the studio, did you already have an idea of all the business stuff at that point, or did you also have to really study that or learn that along the way yourself as well?
I'd say everything has been just learned it along the way naturally as it popped up, you know.
Okay.
Um, I think like most people, let's say you're a painter and you work for a painting company and you realize like, yo, I'm the best fucking painter here. Naturally, you start thinking to yourself, I'll just start my own painting company. But you don't know a thing about business. You're just really good at painting. And entrepreneurship is actually the opposite. It's like understanding business. And Ray Kroc is the founder of McDonald's. He never made French fries or hamburgers. He's seen these other people that started the McDonald's, and he was like, oh, Ray Kroc was the entrepreneur thinking, I could see this becoming big. What if these here, we could streamline their process and blah, blah, blah. So for me, it was, I always offered services. It was like how I made a living was I found a music artist and he needed beats. So I was doing beats and then studio time and then videos or CDs or photos, different things that they needed. And then I had a home studio. And then naturally I got more and more popular, and I had, you know, more kind of random people that you might not want in your home coming through, coming through, coming through. And it was like, all right, this is getting big enough to where it makes sense for me to take this outside of my house. And I was really hesitant. I'd say like a common theme with my whole journey has been every time I got to the next thing, there was a lot of hesitation. It was like life was telling me, no more home studio. You got to get a place. You got to get a place. And it was like I just held on to it for too long almost. But to give myself credit, I always did let go and then did take the jump. And then next thing I know, it works out. So
For
um,
sure.
originally it was just I had the home studio. I upgraded to a actual studio that I like paid rent at. And then I had that for so many years, and I remodeled and made it bigger, made it nicer, then remodeled again and made it bigger and nicer. Then it was like, okay, this is only still just one recording studio, 500 square foot room. What's the next step? Well, the next step, as I started traveling, going to these places, it was, man, these guys, I'm a one-stop shop person, but I don't have a one-stop shop place.
Right.
And, you know, I knew like, okay, it's super expensive to get these big places right now. I'm paying rent on this like room. For me to pay rent on a whole place or buy a commercial property, oh shit. So I stuck with, you know, just maximizing the space that I had for as long as I could. And then, yeah, where I'm at now, it's like a 2,500 square foot place. And yeah, the business stuff came, just ran into a wall. I would joke around and be like, give me 24 to 48 hours, I'll have a master's degree on it. And then, you know, we start figuring things out, solve the problem, level up to the next level, run into another problem, you know, give me some time, let me figure it out. And how you asked me, like, what's been the hardest part of the journey? I would say every time I run into those. So not one in particular stands out, but like each one of those at the time seemed like the hardest part of my whole career.
Right. No,
And
I
then it was
can.
like I broke through, and then looking back, it's like, damn, that was the thing that like gave me nightmares, and like I was stuck at that shit for weeks.
Bro, with that said, your research game and like the way that you interpret data must be on another level though, because most people need like a mentor, or I guess you could say, I don't want to say spoon fed, but most people, and even myself included in a lot of situations, like I might need to see something more than once before I just retain it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that definitely goes to, it says something about you for sure. 100%.
Thank you, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's my wife, she would read some of the books that I'd read and then we'd talk about it and she was like, "No, I don't remember that." And she was like, "The fact that you consume faster than the average person
Right.
and you comprehend at a high level." And then I think that's where I like to selfishly teach stuff because, double dipping, killing many birds with one stone. It's I need to learn, let's say it was social media. I need to learn social media for my own shit, regardless.
Right.
But if I'm learning social media and then also I start teaching it to other people and I'm explaining what I'm learning, it's forcing me to like retain the information at a higher level because not only do I need to retain it to understand it, I have to understand it so much that I can explain it to the next person in a simple way, which makes me, you know, like selfishly, it makes me learn it and retain it higher, but also I get to help the next person. So it's like a win-win.
Yeah. No, 100%, man. I feel that for sure. Let me ask you this, and I'm putting you on the spot with this one. Do you have any favorite artists that you've collabed with or you've done work for, or just somebody who stands out like, yo, this person is really, really doing their thing?
Um, I would say different people at different phases. So there was an artist named Jay Easy. He was the first client that I ever had in my whole career. And
Shout
so
out
he was
Jay.
a huge piece to like I remember just going to the barber shop. I was maybe 18 or 19, talking to the barber, telling him that I made beats, I rapped, introduced myself as CrackaLack, not my government name. And so he's like, okay, yeah, I got a friend that raps. And then one day he like set us up. We set up a day and time where he came to my studio and then I made this package for him where I was like, yo, I'll make all your beats, record all your songs, take your pictures, design your cover art, shoot a video for you and press you up 100 CDs. And it was like $600 or something. Like it was really cheap. But I did that. Well, then from him doing a CD, he had like 3 or 4 features on his CD. And so now I had those people introduced to me. And then I did the same package deal for them and like raised the price a couple $100. And then they all did their CDs and then they had 3 or 4 or 5, 6 features on their shit. And so then I met those people and I had those clients. So
Nice.
Jay Easy for sure, because he was my first ever like client and
Yeah.
then got me started. And then there's an artist named Basic. He's from like 8 Mile, Detroit. So he's got like Eminem's come up story.
Oh, nice. Shout
And
out.
Basic was a level up for me because I was kind of going from $300 to $500 videos to the thousands around this time. And I needed an artist that I could like consistently show what my quality looked like and sounded like.
Hmm.
And so for 2 years straight, I would produce a song for him and he would drop a music video. And we did that for 2 years straight. And so he was like one of the first artists that a lot of people assumed if I had a label, he was like my artist because
Right.
they kept seeing him and me, him and me, him and me, cracking Basic. So definitely Basic. And then I would say Katie Noel. She's like a country rap artist. Katie Noel introduced me to, once I did a video for her and it was in the thousands of dollars. When the video came out, everyone seen it. It was like, this is my new standard.
Right.
I'm not going backwards and doing that shit no more. Not the parking ramp, like 2 hour video shoot.
Right.
Like I got the most praise I had in my whole career when her first country video came out that I did.
Wow.
And it was like, okay, I know what she spent. Like we rented a fucking barn for a day. We rented a saloon. Like we paid people to line dance. There was horses. Like there was a production. This cost
Yeah.
thousands of dollars. So yes, if you guys say that this is my best work, I'm only doing this shit now. And
Right.
so I would say Katie Noel for sure, because that's when I like leveled up my video stuff
Nice.
and raised the standard. And then Adam Calhoun,
Mhm.
he's a big independent country rap artist. And Adam, I would
Shout
say
out.
just with the consistency of a lot of exposure came from him, with him having, millions of followers and me being able to do like probably 10, 12 videos for him. Uh, So yeah, shout out to Adam Calhoun.
Yeah, big shout out for sure.
Yeah,
That's
best
awesome,
belief
man.
too. He's from Orlando area,
Yeah,
but he
yeah.
moved up to Michigan for maybe like a year and
Oh
did a
wow.
fuckload of stuff with us.
Nice. Yo, shout out Best Believe, man. I have a song with Best Believe too, man. Best Believe's a cool guy, man.
I seen it on your page. I like the
Uh,
song. I like the video. Like that. That's
nice, man.
what I would say. Like my standard of good beat, good song, good artist, good visuals. Like all around, that's a 10 out of 10.
Oh, I
Beat,
appreciate that,
song,
man.
video, everything. Yeah.
Oh, for sure, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, so big shout out, Bez. So let me ask you another question, because of course, this is the Hustle Coast podcast where we highlight hustlers, go-getters, and high achievers. Obviously, your life story completely embodies all of these things. But specifically, what role do you think that courage, and I know you touched on it for a minute, but what role do you think that courage plays in true leadership and success?
I would say it's a big piece, man, because everything starts with courage. So, being a father, having a daughter, um, she had a YouTube channel at like 3 years old up until she was maybe like 8 or 9, and had, I don't know if she had thousands of subscribers, but courage to put herself out there. And then I noticed that as she got to that kind of where you would be embarrassed what other kids say or stuff, like the courage, it's went down. And so now I guess the thing with her age is not posting stuff. Like TikTok is the big platform and everyone has hundreds of videos in their drafts and they don't post anything. And I'm
Oh,
like,
wow.
man, I wish, like, have the courage to put yourself out there. No one posts anymore. And it's like, well, then you be the one to post.
Right.
And I don't know, but yeah, everything starts with courage. If you think about it, like
Yeah.
10 plus years ago, or even today, if you go to the mall and you see somebody walking around and they're like talking to their phone and shit, it's kind of like, I think at first you naturally like cringe because you see them doing it, but then I go to good for them. Good for them that they're doing that shit. And that's today. So like 10, 12, 13 years ago, I was doing that stuff. And so if it's cringe today, it was super fucking cringe back then.
Right.
But to do that, you have to have, some courage. And then also to
Yeah.
put yourself out there. Like I did a lot of push myself in the pool type of stuff to gain the courage.
Right.
Like when I noticed I was shy, but I wanted to be a rapper, I realized like all of these people that come to my studio, they're not shy when it comes to that. And they're rappers. I'm not like them. So what can I do to like force me out of my comfort zone? And I remember having my girlfriend drop me off at Michigan State University, like the campus,
Mhm.
it with a string, like the little strings that you have in the backpack. And I had a backpack full of CDs, and I had maybe 20 CDs, and I was gonna sell them for $5, and so I'd have $100. And I was like, you can't pick me up until I sell these CDs. And I remember being that dude going up to people asking them like, what type of music do you listen to? Are you a fan of hip hop? I'm a rapper. And yeah, I sold all of my CDs. I was walking into like random dorm parties, like
Nice.
forcing myself out of the comfort zone. But like that's how I, got some courage.
That
I
takes a
remember when
lot
I
of
was
courage.
18, I had a job at GNC for a year, which is like you're the only person in the store. So when customers come in, you have to walk up to them and talk to them.
Right.
And I'm naturally introverted. So I like forced me out of my comfort zone and gave me some courage. And then I'd say the same thing with like talking to a camera. Like somebody may watch this and think that I could seem extroverted. But if you think about it, like I'm no one else is here. So technically I'm sitting in a room by myself talking to a webcam, looking
Right.
at your face.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just all part of I understood to beat this level, this is uncomfortable, but it's uncomfortable because you're not good at it
Right.
yet. So in order to get better at it, I'm sure just whatever number of podcasts this is for you, 50 podcasts from now, you're gonna look back at this one and be like, damn, bro, I can't believe this, and this. But it's like where you are today, this is exactly where you're supposed to be. This is your best ability right now. And the same thing for me. Like the shit that I'm sharing in this podcast, like this is the best that I'm capable of right now.
Yeah.
And so if I do 50 more of these, of course I'm gonna get better at this shit.
Right.
You
For
know?
sure.
And so I
100%.
think courage is a skill that can be practiced from just kind of forcing yourself out there.
Pushing yourself in the deep end, man.
Yeah.
For
And
sure.
hoping that don't drown. And
Yeah.
sometimes you are going to drown or almost drown, but then
Right.
the next time you like drown way less, and then eventually you're like kind of drown,
Yeah.
and then next thing you know, you're like, I don't drown at all.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. No, that's a fact, man. So, as we're coming, to the end of this, I do have just a couple more questions, but these questions are more so just like fun, just for people to kind of get to know more about you personally. So, if you could have dinner with any person, dead or alive, who would it be?
That's an awesome question. Um,
Other than your wife.
yeah, I would say 50 Cent is up there for me. 50 Cent, you know, uh, what made me become a fan of rap, what made me want to rap. Like when he came out with Get Rich or Die Trying, it's like that was my world. That was my shit. I loved that. Like
Right.
it changed my life. Absolutely. So I would say 50 Cent would be up there. Elon Musk would be up there.
Oh, yep.
I think it would be one to just there's this test, and this is something that I recommend everyone doing. It's called 16 personalities. And you can just Google 16 personality test. Don't click like the sponsored, but click the very first one that comes up. It's something like 16personalities.com. But you answer 50 questions and it tells you a lot about yourself. Because I think self-awareness is really important with like growing.
Right.
So you take this test, it gives you what your personality type is, and then it'll also tell you, these famous people also share the same personality type as you. But my personality type is an INTJ, and it's the rarest personality type in the world. Less than 1% have it. And Elon Musk also has that.
Wow.
So I would love to talk to him to get some kind of advice, and also just seeing like how he's grown and grown and grown and leveled up, and like, yeah, his imagination is endless and through the roof. So it'd be
That's a
Elon
good one.
Musk. Yeah.
100%, man. Do you have a favorite movie or TV show?
I would say favorite movie is The Prestige. I
Okay.
don't know if you've ever heard of that. It's like I like movies that are like mentally stimulating to where I'm not bored, or I can't predict the whole movie in the first 20, 30 minutes,
Right.
But that's a movie where my favorite type of movies are where at the very end you're like, holy shit,
Yeah.
it was them. I thought it was and it's like these
Like
twists.
Inception?
Yeah, that's a really good one too.
Yeah. That's a good one.
But yeah,
For
I
sure,
would
man.
say The Prestige is the best one.
Nice, nice. And what is your dream vacation?
That's a good one. I mean, it's gonna sound so boring right now, but like again, my family, we love Orlando.
Hey, shout out to us, man.
Yeah, I love going to Orlando and going to the parks there, staying somewhere cool. We like walking around International Drive, and yeah, I mean, it sounds lame to some, but I don't know. We love that. And I think it's also a special place because I remember that was when my daughter was 3, I took her there. And so I was like 26, and it was just a moment. I remember taking her there. I'm single at the time, and I'm like holding her. We're at Magic Kingdom, and then the parade is going, and then they're all screaming this song that's like dreams come true, and the whole crowd is chanting it, and I'm holding her there thinking like, damn, man, I'm a single dad. I took my daughter here and I did this shit from my dreams. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't pay for this from a job or anything. I paid for this from not giving up on doing beats or music. And then that led to me making some money. And that led to me being able to buy a plane ticket and come down here and buy these, tickets or something. So it's like a special place for me is Orlando, especially like the Disney parks and stuff.
Heck
And so now being able to go back there, and I think it's common for a lot of people where they have some childhood memories of like, oh, my mom and dad used to take me to this place, and so then they're an adult, and then that's like one of their favorite places to go because it brings back certain memories.
Right. True that. 100%. That's awesome, man. So as we're closing, I wanted to ask, what's next for you? Anything coming up that you want to shout out other than the studio? Anything in particular?
Yeah, how you were talking about like learning and stuff and the mentor. So that's what I'm going more in towards, which again, it's been a natural progression as I've continued to grow, continued to document, continued to post the content. People started asking me questions about, do you offer mentoring? It's like, no, I don't, but maybe I should. You ask me. And then more people ask me, like, do you have a mentorship? Or like, is there any way to work with you and you could help me for this long? So what I'm in the process of doing right now is figuring out exactly what I want to offer. But I would like to work with 10 to 20 people and have like a mentorship program where I help each person get clear on like three big goals, and then we'd have this is what I would make is like systems to track to make sure that we're making progress. And I think that would be cool as fuck to be
Yeah.
able to offer to other people. And I was thinking like, if I was 18, what do I wish that I could have done? Like, yeah, it took me 20 years to learn what I've learned, but the whole point of like gaining wisdom is you teach the next person, and then the student becomes better than the master, the
Right.
teacher.
Right.
And so yeah, transitioning more into the coaching and doing less of like services. So I retired last year from doing studio sessions. So for 21 years I was offering where people could hire me studio time, record, mix and master your music. And I would say to people like, bro, I'm losing money being here. And they're like, well, you charge this much an hour. Like, how are you losing money? And it's like opportunity cost from what I'm not doing, what I could be doing instead.
Right.
And, I eventually got the team to a place where I was comfortable with what they can offer other people. And I thought, okay, boom, I'm going to close that door now. I don't offer studio time anymore. And now my team does. And so I still offer music videos right now or video services, but I see myself over the next, you know, maybe by the end of this year, not offering that anymore. And then just teaching other people how to do videos
Right.
and, having a team that offers that. Or in a perfect world, I would have the younger version of myself that I would teach and train, and he would be the new master of videography. And then all future opportunities where people would normally want me to film, I'd be like, no, 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 I got a guy.
Yeah.
My guy does that.
Right.
Because I do have that with the recording studio where he's 10 years younger than me. He wants to be in the studio 24/7. A lot of this came from when Bez moved up here, and Bez was trying to get, you know, basically I'd be like, how long do you want to do? He said, as long as you want to do, big dog. And I'd be like, I mean, how much, a 12 hour? He was like, yeah, we can do that. And it's like, oh shit, a 14-hour session, as long as you want to do, big dog. And yeah, so when there was a while where Bez was just occupying all of my time, everything that was available, he took it. But then it was like, damn, I can't grow this company anymore. I can't do all these other things. I'm not working with anyone else because you're taking all my time.
Right.
I either need to like raise my prices or delegate and bring some people on. And
Yeah. And even
yes,
just speaking for myself, bro, I think that that's a great idea because, I've been starting to dabble in video editing my own stuff. Like my last music video I did myself, and it's not like, great or anything, but so that's something that I think artists could definitely benefit from learning. So I think that's a great idea.
yeah, it's like if you want to learn Facebook ads, like option one, learn on your own. And it may take you some years to eventually get good. It's like the smarter thing to do would be find somebody else that already knows how to do it, and then
Right.
just see if you could pay them to like give you like organize everything they've learned in their whole career and be like, hey, okay, if I wanted to learn how to do Facebook ads all over again, the first thing you need to learn is this. The second thing, so I'm organizing the information for you where
Right.
I had to get it from all over the place and spend a decade to do it. So the same
Yeah.
thing with like music videos, the same thing with making beats, the same thing with making content or running ads, all the different things that I've done now.
Yeah.
That's my goal, is to have a program that somebody could go through that's way more affordable. So in the hundreds of dollars, you can learn how to do this shit that I have 20 years of knowledge, and it's like you can go through this in a matter of 3 hours and know everything that you need to know about this.
Yeah, man, that's sick. That's a great idea, bro. 100%. So as the last thing, where can people find you, your socials, website, all of that? And I'll definitely tag some in the description as well. But
Thank you, man. So I would say my Instagram is probably the best place to contact me. It's at Cracka_Lack. And then the studio is at Crack House Studios. And then on YouTube, I'll have a lot more content on YouTube. I say YouTube is my free mentorship. So as people ask me questions, I was just speaking at a music conference last week and somebody asked a question like, I got an iPhone. Like, why doesn't my content look like yours? And I was like, well, I'm using cameras and this, and this. And he was like, no. But like, it still don't look like that. I was like, all right, cool. Give me 2 weeks. I'll have a tutorial walking you through step by step my entire process of making content. So
nice.
My YouTube channel is CrackaLack TV. And then I'm launching a new podcast. So Free Game with Crack podcast. That could be something that when I'm in Orlando, we could film in person.
Yeah, that'd be
have
awesome.
you as a guest on there.
For sure.
But crackhousestudios.com, CrackaLack.com. And yeah, I would say Instagram would be the easiest place to get a hold of me. The crackhousestudios.com for booking any type of services, music related, studio photo shoots, videos, beats, online mixing, whatever would all be crackhousestudios.com.
Epic, man. Well, Cracka Lack, I want to thank you so much again for coming on the Hustle Coast podcast today. I know I got a lot from it. I know our viewers did as well. So it's been an absolute pleasure. But hey, thank you everybody for tuning in to the Hustle Coast podcast. And we hope you guys have a great rest of your day.